Hello and welcome to the Blue Water Running Podcast. I'm your host, Maren, and this podcast features and celebrates the achievements of high school and collegiate cross-country and track and field athletes from the Blue Water area of Michigan. In this episode, I am joined by North Branch senior Thomas Kann. At Friday night's Davison Twilight Classic, Tommy dropped a huge PR and went sub 50 in the open 400-meter dash, running 49.94 to take second place and hit that EQ, the early qualifying standard of 50.3 for the D2 state finals. This is only the third time Tommy has ever raced the 400 meters in his career, and it will be the first time he takes a trip to the state meet. He is currently the fastest high school boy in the event in the Blue Water running coverage area, now sitting at number 1 on the top 10 area performance list by over a second. As of the recording of this episode, he also ranked 5th in the state in the D2 400-meter dash. After somewhat of a heartbreaking regional meet last season, it's great to see Tommy returning with amazing performances and a bit of a redemption tour. Stay tuned to hear his plans and goals for this season, his thoughts on the 800 meters as well, and get to know him as a Blue Water area athlete. Welcome to the Blue Water Running Podcast, Tommy.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. It's exciting to see what you just recently achieved, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. So let's start out with how you got involved in track and field. So tell me a little bit about how you first came to the sport, how you started running, and where that all began for you.
Okay, so when I was little, I was a baseball kid, so I played a lot of baseball. And then when I moved to North Branch in the 8th grade, I didn't end up joining a team, so I ended up doing track instead. And I started off, I just ran like the 100, 200, nothing too crazy. And then I was like, I'll give the 800 a shot. Why not? And then I ended up being really good at it, and I ended up winning our leagues, and I just stuck with that going into high school.
Yes. And speaking of the 800, we'll talk about the 400 first. You did not even run the open 400 until this year. Am I correct? Yeah.
I ran it one time. Freshman year, I did run it.
Okay. So I was looking at your athletic.net profile, and I was kind of going through and going, oh my gosh, like he didn't really focus on this. He did the 800 quite a bit, but this is kind of a new thing. So your previous time this year in your first attempt was about a 51 and a half. And then prior to that, it was like mid 55s, 56s. And then just this weekend, you hit the EQ for D2. You went sub 50. So I know you have had experience with running a 400 in the 4x4. But what made you try the open 400? And why do you think that you've seen so much success so fast this year?
Well, so beginning of this year, I ran the 4x4, and my splits were like, they were good. It was around 51. And so my papa, he ran track way back in the day, and he was telling me, he was like, you should really try the open 4. And I was like, okay, one of these BWAC meets where the team doesn't need me to run the 800, I'll try the open 4 and see how it goes. And then I ran the 51, and I was like, man, that felt really good. I think I can go faster. And so that's what I did.
It's always interesting to me when I talk to athletes that they are usually, not always, but usually not the one who comes up with the idea to try something new and then find out that they're really good at it. It's usually, like a coach, hey, try this. Or like you said, is this your grandpa?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's kind of funny. Well, clearly it's working.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if any other runner from our league, I know field events have EQ'd, but I don't think any other runners have. We do have a hurdler in our area, but not a runner for an open event, I don't think. So You're the only one. So I also saw you've been racing the 100, the 200-meter dash, and you've been winning quite a few of them. So do you feel like that shorter speed is helping your 400? And is that kind of one of the reasons you added them into your meet schedule?
So I feel like it definitely is helping. I didn't start off running those for the 400 at all. I just started running those I wanted to run 4 events at every BWAC meet. That was my goal. Last year, I wanted to run 4 events. So I was just trying to find other events that could that I can also run and the 800, that would give me like a break. But I think it's definitely helping
Hmm.
me run that 400 faster for sure.
Hmm. I've noticed that generally speaking, there's always the exception to the rule. It's a little easier to take a sprinter or somebody with quick leg speed and move them up to the 800 because, on the world stage, the 800 is a sprint than it is to take a longer distance runner and move them down because it requires so much fast speed. So maybe that's why you're so good at the 800. You have that fast leg speed.
Yeah, I also think the 800 itself has been helping a lot with the 400.
Hmm.
Just like when I'm racing the 800, the 400 just seems so much easier.
Yeah, it definitely helps with the stamina at the end too. When you have to kick, you have a little left to give. So let's talk about the 800. So in years past, you focused much more heavily on the open 800. You ran a 2:02 indoors in March at SBSU. That still stands in the Blue Water area as one of the fastest times run this season. And then you also equaled that another time at your own home meet at the County Press Invitational. So I'm going to read a few quick sentences from the 2025 outdoor season preview, which I published before we started the season. And I made some predictions about you in the 800 meters because obviously we didn't know what was going to happen with the 400. And then I'm going to let you respond with your thoughts. So I wrote, the boys 800 is wide open at the D2 level as the upperclassmen favorites, mostly Yale, from 2024 all graduated. Thomas Kann returns as the top BWAC finisher, taking third last year and narrowly missing an AQ. That was before EQs were a thing, so missing that state automatic qualifier at last year's scorchingly fast and hot regional race, where he finished sixth in 2 minutes flat, 0.74. All predictions point to a sub 2 minute time this season for him. So now with all this success in the 400 and the event being really close to 800 in the order of a meet because you only have one event between them, do you think you'll try to double that race at regionals, or are you going to have to pick one or the other? Because you already have an EQ in the 400, so you don't technically have to race it again. But, there could be a regional championship there. So I'm curious as to your thoughts.
So this is my thinking. I really want to get the school record for the 400 because I missed it by only 0.02 seconds. So I know I can get that. We have a meet this Friday at Bad X, and I'm going to try to run that fast. If I do end up getting that, I think I'm going to run the 800 at regionals because I do want to hit sub 2. That's been my goal since freshman year.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's going to be my plan. If I don't end up getting it, I might run the 400 at regionals because it's going to be fast and it's going to push me even more.
Right.
That's kind of where I'm standing right now.
Okay. Well, and to put it in perspective, in years past, just within a few years, what you ran last year at regionals would have got you first or second. So it's gotten faster. And I know this year as well, I believe Macomb Lutheran North is in our regional again, and they have quite a few distance guys that are pretty fast. So it will be interesting to see, what the times are. Okay, so let's talk 4x4. Okay, so you had the Open 800 last season. That was such a close race. You're so close.
Yes.
It was kind of a heartbreaker. And I was watching it and I knew exactly what you were feeling because I watched the same thing happen to my own kid the year before at North Branch in the pouring rain. Then you were seated really well going into the 4x4 as well, which was the last event of the meet. And then you guys had a baton drop and were disqualified. Another heartbreaker. So close in both those events, just missing it. I'm assuming the memory of that meet and the desire to make the state meet has kind of pushed you a little bit this season, if I can make that assumption.
It for sure has.
Yeah, I would imagine that's a motivator to want to get that. Well, your relay team has already run pretty close to last year. So are you guys planning on racing that at regionals? What are your goals in that event? What are you looking at doing?
There's a problem with our relay right now is because the two guys that are returning in the relay with me from last year, they are both hurt right now.
Oh.
Yeah, so we have to replace both of them.
Yeah,
So
that makes it tough.
we have like a whole new team going into Friday's meet to see what we can do.
Okay. So
So
that's going to kind of make up your mind for regionals?
just see what's how it's going. I'm just gonna try my best and hope they try their best and see what we can get.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's all anyone can ask of you, right?
Yep.
Well, I know that you have committed to run track at SC4. Is there anything in the collegiate schedule that you would like to try that you haven't? Any new events that you think you might want to do, or do you want to kind of stick to what you know already?
I mean, I would love to try this. You probably feel like most people would probably say this is a steeplechase.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to try that. That seems really fun.
It's very interesting to watch. I don't know how fun it would be to try it because I'm not a hurdler and
Yeah.
I'm very clumsy. So I leave the coordinated events to people who have that skill.
Yeah.
But I agree. I think it would be an interesting and unique opportunity. So speaking of, that's kind of more a distance event. I saw that you ran cross country for a couple of years.
Yes, I did.
Yeah. So tell me about that and why you decided not to keep doing it.
So I ran my freshman year, and then going into my sophomore year, I was on the fence because a lot of my good friends played football, and I also wanted to play. So I ended up dual sporting sophomore year, and then going into my junior and senior year, I did end up choosing football.
And that's a really tough duel.
Yeah.
Yeah, because after football practice, it's really hard to run when you're exhausted. And if you have a Friday night game, it's really
Yes.
late. Yeah. Yeah, we had a kid a couple years back who did that, and he did pretty well in both, but it was pretty rough on his body. All right, well, what is your favorite track meet at which you compete? Do you have a favorite?
Favorite? Um, I would say the Davison Twilight Classic. That's always a good one.
Mm-hmm.
There's really good competition. I feel like the weather is always nice there. I do like the county press too, but I feel like it's always just rainy. So don't really like that. And especially the what I just did at the last Davison meet, it's definitely a meet to remember.
Yeah, for sure. Did they do the 4x4 under the lights? Did they actually turn the lights on? We weren't there this year. This is the first year we hadn't gone, but
So they did the 4x4. They hyped it up with the music and everything, but
uh-huh.
they ran through the meet very fast. It was not even dark yet.
Oh,
Yeah, it was crazy. We got out of there like 7 o'clock.
yeah, that's like 2 hours earlier.
Yeah,
Well, great for the coaches, and
yeah,
I guess not so cool for the aura, but hey, you get to go home earlier.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, what is an important part of your training or your racing regimen that you take seriously? For example, some athletes really have a specific strengthening routine, or they might do resistance bands, or they might have a certain stretching routine, or they focus on a certain food that they really, try to get into their body. So, what are some things that you would consider important elements of just your daily workouts or when you're racing?
So I would say a thing that I do before every race is I really try to make sure that my mind is right and that I'm mentally strong because I feel like the 800 and 400 is they're very mental races. So I try to make sure that my mind is right. And then if you see me like warming up, I'll do a warm up and then I will just pace back and forth. I will just walk up and down the field, just trying to clear my mind and make sure I'm ready to run.
So, if you had shared a warm up playlist with us, what would be some of the music that you would listen to that kind of hypes you up?
Okay, this is probably a little different than some answers you would get, but I honestly don't listen to the music to necessarily hype me up, but I listen to it to calm me down
Okay.
almost and to like relax me. So I'll listen to like some just country music just to like relax me.
Mm-hmm. That makes total sense. I think you're not the only one who might do that. Um, Now, do you have a favorite post race? So you're done racing, you don't have to compete. Favorite post race food or drink?
I wouldn't necessarily have any food because I feel like every time I'm done running, I just can't eat anything. I gotta wait a while. My
Mm-hmm.
stomach is just hurting.
Yeah.
But I also could be a weird thing. I like Powerade more than Gatorade. So I always have like a Powerade after I run.
Hey, to each their own. We make no judgments. I don't even like Gatorade, so
Yeah.
yeah. Well, what are some hobbies or activities that you enjoy when you're not at school or you're not in sports or you're just hanging out and you can do your own thing?
I love the golf. I'm a big
Oh,
golfer.
okay.
Yeah.
So, like, what's your typical score? Because the only golf I'm good at is putt putt. So,
Not like I can shoot like mid 40s.
oh,
It's
all
not
right.
horrible, but it's not the greatest, but
That's
it's
a lot
fun.
better. That's a lot better than me. I do enjoy golf. I'm just very terrible at it. But I think
Yeah.
the reason I like golf so much is because I ran so many cross country meets on a golf course that I just,
Oh yeah, that could be it. Yeah.
yeah, I like the course, not so much the sport of golf.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, do you have a favorite professional athlete or athletes? And it doesn't have to be someone from, track and field.
Okay, so my all-time favorite athlete, I don't know if you've heard of him. He's an NBA player. His name's Damian Lillard.
Okay.
He's always been my favorite. There's a long story with that. But other than that, my favorite track and field athlete for sure would be Nick Simmons.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I love
I
Nick Simmons.
Yes, I have always loved watching his YouTube videos.
Yes. He's very entertaining and
Yes,
charismatic.
yes, yes.
Did you ever watch, because you would have been little, maybe, I don't even know. When were you born?
2007.
Okay. I'm trying to think so when he ran in the Olympics in the 800, have you ever watched that race?
I have, but just like a YouTube video of
Right,
it.
right.
It
Yeah, I would
wasn't live,
imagine you
but
would have been very young.
yeah.
Um, because he was the first person to ever run that fast and not medal.
Oh, really? I did not
Yes.
know that.
Yes. So it was
Wow.
kind of like your situation at
Yeah,
regionals.
I guess so. Yeah,
Yeah, first person
guess
to
I'm gonna
not.
relate to him.
Yeah, it makes sense that. Yeah, and he was just really gutsy. I liked his style. He wasn't afraid to put it out there and go with the best. So, yep. Well, as a former 800-meter runner myself, do you have a certain approach to how you kind of strategically plan your laps? There's some people that they try to just kind of go with the field the first lap and then kick it at a certain point, or they try to negative split. So, what do you try to do when you race?
So I would say this year I've been trying something new. In years past, I was always like, just get out hard and just try not to die. That's been my strategy. But this year, at the couple races I've had, I've just been trying to let someone else lead and then just kick off them
Hmm.
the last 200 meters. I mean, it's worked so far this year, the couple races I've ran.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a delicate balance of the first lap, not too hard, but not too slow because you can't lose contact and catch up. It's very difficult. And then having something left for that end. So, yeah. Well, it's been really interesting to hear your perspective. So what are you hoping to do this Friday? Like, what's your goal for Friday night? You said breaking the school record. So what would it take to do that?
I I want to run a 49.8. That is the goal.
Okay, 49.8. That's pretty fast.
Yeah, that it is.
Yeah. And to think about doing that and then doing it again back to back.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
the world's guys do, right?
Yeah, I know.
It's crazy.
Yep.
Crazy. Well, thank you so much, Tommy, for joining me. It was great to see what you're doing. Like, I was so excited to see that somebody met an EQ, especially somebody that kind of had a heartbreak of a finish to their season last year. It
Yes.
makes the redemption story so much better
Does.
to see you come back and achieve something special and earn your very first trip to the state meet.
Yes, I'm very excited.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. So thanks for joining me, and I'll be watching to see what happens next.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll leave you with a quote today by Nick Simmons, a middle distance runner from Boise, Idaho, who specialized in the 800 meters and 1500 meters. At Willamette University, he won 7 NCAA Division III titles outdoors, is a 6-time U.S. national 800-meter champion, and competed in the 800 at 2 different Olympic Games, reaching the semifinals in Beijing in 2008 and finishing 5th in the London 2012 final, running a personal best of 142.95, behind David Rudisha's world record of 140.91. The following year, he won a silver medal in the 800 meters at the 2013 World Championships. I wanted to be that D3 guy that stepped on the track in a tattered old jersey and kicked the crap out of them. If you're willing to do the work, you will be successful at any school. It's hard work. It's hard work training. It's hard work competing. It's hard work just traveling. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast today. Please share an episode to help spread the word about Blue Water Running's mission, which is to feature and celebrate the achievements of high school and collegiate cross-country and track and field athletes from our area. You can follow Blue Water Running on Instagram, X, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube, along with athlete and meet reports and photographs on the website at bluewaterrunning.org. Coverage of Blue Water Running is sponsored in part by Elite Feet of Port Huron. If you need running shoes, spikes, or apparel, they have a friendly and knowledgeable staff to help you find the right fit, and they've spent years supporting local athletes here in the Blue Water area. They're located at 327 Huron Avenue in downtown Port Huron. Verlinde Insurance, located in Richmond, Michigan, is also a supporter of coverage on Blue Water Running. Training as an athlete teaches you resilience and preparation. Apply those lessons to your life with their insurance plans. Be ready for anything with them by your side.